Hey everybody, welcome to the walkthrough for Tapering and More 1.3.4. We're talking a little bit about injection molding and the considerations you have to make for injection molding. I don't need to have the music going. But basically, what ends up happening is the heated material comes through here, and this is kind of like right here is where your part is. This stuff's all heated up right here. And so if you notice, let me make it big. If you notice, it's got these tapers on everything, and it has to pop out of both this piece and that piece. So it's got to have some modicum of a taper or a draft on it. Let me pause that and stop that. All right. And so basically, injection molding, it's got a bunch of things about it, like don't make super sharp corners. You want things filleted so it slides out smoother. Don't make vertical walls. Like if you're in that mold from side to side, you don't want vertical pieces. You'd rather have them slightly open out like that. So when your parts of your mold come away from each other, that part slides out nicely, falls right down with the rest of them. Anyways, so we're going to do some practice with tapering. Another word for tapering is drafting. And again, if you don't want to lose points on this by following my walkthrough, then go back and follow, look at these information right here. There's some information right here in this YouTube video about some of the concepts you're going to need to know how to do. But if you just need to get it done because it's old, it's in the past, and we're running out of time, then, follow this. It'll be a B, not an A, and that's okay. If that's what we have to do, that's what we have to do. All right. I have open my assignment, which is just a screwdriver case. Here's the modeling skills thing. And if you walk the whole way through this, you're going to end up making this thing here, which is not, I don't need it. It's for practice. If you'd like to practice, absolutely, go ahead, do that part. Practice your circular patterns, your rectangular and linear patterns, practice all this stuff. Again, it's written for fusion, so it's a little bit, it's not exactly the same as Onshape. But let's get down to step 14 right here. This is the page. This is where I started printing it off for everyone to look at. And it's this blue part right here. And if you look, it's actually giving me a dimension. It looks like it's about 2 inches at its widest between the 2 points on it. So if you want to dimension this kind of like the original, when we make this bottom rectangle, pentagon, let's make it about 2 inches across. I'm going to do that because they're giving me the information, I might as well use it. So we're creating a new component, new design file, name and save your file. Oh boy. Well, I've made it 1.3.4 tapering. Don't put the walkthrough in there, that's just, I'm writing it's a walkthrough. I'm gonna draw on the top surface. Let's see what it says. Build 2 taper extrusions to start, yeah. Step A, create a pentagon sketch. This is pretty hard to see, let me see if I can zoom in. Oops, drop something, there it is. All right, create pentagon sketch, then extrude it with a taper angle of -45 degrees to create the short inward flare at the bottom of the base. That's just this part here. So I'm going to hit N so I can see it from straight on, make a new sketch, and I'm going to use the polygon tool right here, inscribe polygon. I'm going to click my center point at the origin, and I'm going to click straight up a little ways. I'm not going to make sure any of my points are, I'm not going to do that yet. Automatically it gives me a hexagon because I've just opened this document, and if I've made pentagons before, it should give me a pentagon. But move your mouse inwards to make fewer sides and outwards to make more. So if I want 5 sides, I'm going to move slightly in to get 5. Click that, you're good. Unclick the polygon tool. I'm going to grab my top and I'm going to move it over and have it lined up directly over the origin so it won't spin around anymore. And like I said, I'm going to dimension from this point to that point. I'm going to say it's about 2 inches. And that'll give us the same kind of size that the one in the example has. Green check. I'm going to make this, let's see, then it says to extrude it with a taper angle of -45. So if I extrude this guy, the word for it in Fusion is taper. Normally it goes straight up like this. Like if I look from just the front, all of my lines are vertical, all of my edges are vertical, they're completely vertical. There's something called draft. Draft is another word for tapering. If I have a draft angle, that means it's as I go up, instead of going straight up, I'm either going inwards or I'm going outwards. So if I click draft, the automatic is 3 degrees, and it looks like automatically, if if I start at the bottom and going up, then it's going out to the outside. So you'll see it changed from vertical sides to slightly going outward sides. I can make them go slightly inwards by changing the direction with the opposite direction button. It looks like a arrow in a circle, and when I click it, it'll change the direction. It'll have it go from out to in. And sometimes it's hard to tell, like if you're not looking directly at it, that pentagon at the bottom, if you see that dark shape on this top surface here, that's where it would have been if it had gone straight up. So you can see, like right now, I have a wider edge, so it's gone out. When I hit back like that, go the other way, you'll see that the dark part is wider than that edge, so it's gone in. So if you ever have any doubt, that's one way you can tell. It said to go 45 degrees. Since it won't let me do negative 45 degrees, I'm just going to do 45 degrees and have it change the direction to be in like that. And if I go a full inch up, like the automatic here, it goes and makes a pyramid. I want it to be not quite as high because I want it to stop about there. So let's try to eyeball that. Slide it down a little ways, not quite that far. I don't know, 0.14, maybe 0.15. I'll green check that and see what it looks like. It kind of looks like that. And from here on out, I'm going to eyeball it because it's kind of like that. It's kind of close. Step B, another inward tapered extrusion from the top surface using the taper angle estimate appropriate for injection molding. 3 degrees is appropriate for injection molding. So let's take that polygon, that pentagon on the top. We're going to extrude that. It's going to go up. It's going to have a draft of 3 degrees inward, not outward. If I have some parts going inward and other parts going outward, that's going to create these sort of divots like that pop in. And if I have a mold and it needs to slide off of the mold needs to come away from it, it's not going to work. All right. So make sure that all of your tapers are going the same direction. And if I'm extruding towards the bottom, like if I'm going up and I have my taper angles going in or my draft angles going inwards, if I go and extrude downwards, I'm going to need that to go out, to flare out as it goes down. All right. That's just for future reference. How high is this thing supposed to go? Not quite that high. 0.7. Look at that. 0.7 is fine by me. Save that guy. He's golden. All right. Next, we're going to talk about lofting. I've told you about lofting. I've told you how to make new planes in my videos up here with some of these features. But to make a new plane, if you click on a plane you want it to be parallel to, like I want it to just be slightly above that top pentagon. I want it to go up a little bit. All my planes have this icon next to them. I'm going to take this icon right here, click that guy. Notice it just drops it right about an inch above. It's an offset plane. I don't need it that high up. I need it to be a little bit closer, like a little bit closer. Oh, that's probably too close. A little bit more up. You know what? 0.15 it, just like the base. Good enough. Whatevs. I'm going to green check it. Alright, that's a plane. So to loft, I just need to have two things that are on two planes that I can loft in between them. I may be able to loft from one plane to another like that, and it would just do sort of a diagonal loft. That's interesting. I don't want to do it right now. It's going to waste y'all's time. You're trying to get this work done, huh? All right. If I click on plane 1, if I hit N, that'll make it, if I push N on my keyboard, it'll make it turn so I can see it straight on. Since I centered everything before on the origin, if I go ahead and make a sketch on plane 1, and I can click it over in my feature list if I want to, put a circle on that guy. Don't make it quite as large as these pentagons. Make it a little bit smaller. 1.15 sounds great. Let's do that. And green check it. Then you've got a circle floating above the pentagon. If you'll notice in the instructions here, it's like, okay, let's project the geometry of that pentagon up. That's what it says right here in step B, right there. Project this on top. Then you'll be able to find that center by making construction lines between the corner and the flats. And that's why I centered everything on the origin from the top to start with, so I don't have to do that. You can project geometry. Let me search the tools real quick, and let's search for projected curve. So we can project And we take the first sketch, and I'm gonna get, oh, I don't have a sketch. Nope, I don't know. That's not it. I'm gonna have to look up how to project geometry. I know I tried it once and it was a bit more convoluted than it normally would be in like Fusion or SolidWorks or something that I'm used to. But it's doable. I just don't remember off the top of my head. And I've already got my circle centered because that's how I set up my pentagon to start with. I didn't want to mess with projecting any curves. It's a pain in the butt. All right, let's loft it. Lofting just will take the edge from one of these two 2D shapes and the edge from the other one, and it'll make them match up gradually over time. So, or over the distance it's lofted up. So it'll change the cross section gradually up to be a circle. So profiles, this guy and that guy. And if you notice, I mean, the edges kind of throw you off because it looks like they all go up sort of straight. I'm going to go ahead and change what it looks like real quick to shaded with no edges. And you can see that the edge here, this corner, this edge gets a lot less dramatic as it gets closer to the circle. It gets a lot rounder as it gets higher up. Okay, let me go back to showing shaded. All right, cool. All right, so far that's what we've got. That is up to this point. All right. It says make a tapered extrusion and rounding the top. So add another tapered extrusion with the cylinder. Let's go with that 3-degree angle on the way in. Here we go, extrude it, draft it inwards by 3 degrees, and that's way too high. Let's go with, I don't know, it's a little bit shorter than the other one, maybe 0.6. Yeah, good enough. All right. And then we're going to, let's do a little round around the top. It doesn't really show you the round. Oh, there's the round. It's very small compared to the rest of it. So like the automatic fillet, if I hit fillet, it's too big. Let's make it like 0.05. That's probably a little, it's still a little bit big, but you know, you can see it. You can tell you've done it. It's done. All right, shell. It's going to tell you to do a shell now because it wants you to see it done. But let's not until we're done with it because it'll tell us to undo the shell. It says, hey, this is what it's going to look like from the underside when it's done. We're going to think about the wall thickness of injection molding. It's going to be, and it says here, delete the shell feature. Look at that. Sneaky, sneaky. So then it wants us to add a short tapered extrusion at the bottom right here, like a little foot. And it's got to flare out as it goes down. So let's flip it over, grab that pentagon, extrude that, give it a draft angle of 3 degrees, but you want it to get slightly wider as it goes down. So don't change your direction. It doesn't need to be 1 inch. It needs to be a lot less than 1 inch. Let's zoom in. 0.06. Hey, I bet 0.05 would be good. 0.05. Boop. Green check. And there's your little tapered foot. Cool. Now I gotta put the holes in the top of it. And I know that I've done the holes with the, you know, the counterbore, countersink, simple hole that have like the drill thing that it, no, don't do that. You can't draft those kind of holes. And so it's a risk to use those kind of holes when you're doing injection molding, because what if that really does stick on the mold and you can't get it off and the machine's going in and out and it's putting everything together and it smashes apart and then stuff gets broken and it won't make anything right. You waste time, you waste manpower trying to fix the problem that you got, and you waste product perhaps. I mean, you can always melt it down again. But yeah, it just, you know, let's extrude these holes. Let's make them actual circles that we extrude and taper or draft. All right, so the center hole's a blind hole. Yep. Okay. If you look at the underside over here, it looks like the middle hole goes down significantly farther. These guys, these short, shallow holes, the 5 around the edge, they kind of match up with where that cylinder is, and this guy is a little bit farther down. So that's kind of how I eyeballed these when I made these. Let's make the center hole first. So we're going to look at the tippy top, hit N to see it straight on. Oh, no. I want the tippy top. I want this guy. Thank you. Turn it so it's facing. There we go. So if I make a new sketch and make a circle, and I'm going to center it at the origin. Isn't it nice I've centered everything at the origin? All right. I don't know how wide it was. Let's see, what's this? 0.33, 0.25. That kind of looks the same. Close enough. Cool beans. If I click that and extrude it, and I'm going to change it to removing, and I'm going to change it to drafting. And if you look at it the way it looks from the top right now, like, it looks like I can't see that edge unless I look around it, so I'm going to have to change direction on it. There we go, so I can see all the edge along the bottom there. That circle down the middle of it looks smaller than the one at the top. That's the way it should be. How deep is that thing? An inch? You know what? That goes down about where I think I want it to be. Green check it. There it is. All right, let's do the next set of 5 holes. Now we're going to do a circular pattern with these, so don't put 5 circles down, just put 1 circle. And pick, like, you know how when I first did the very first sketch here, I grabbed the top of this pentagon from what we're looking at and I made it snap to be vertical right here. There's a reason for that. That way I can put a circle with a center point sort of on this vertical line above the origin, so it's in line with it, and then all 5 of my holes when I do my pattern will be in line with each of these points, and it'll be kind of pretty. That's why I did what I did. All right, I'm going to sketch a circle. And notice it's vertical to the origin. It's going to be in the right line to line up with that point. They are not exactly halfway out. They are a little bit farther than halfway out and a little bit smaller than the other guy here. So let's go. Halfway is about here. Eyeballing again. Estimating. Oh, look at that. 0.12. Let's do 0.2. That's probably... No, that's too big. Let me edit that. If I unclick the circle, I can go double click on this and make it a 0.15. Yeah, I want to drag it lower. Well, let's see. How far is it above the center? Let's do a dimension. Dimension it from here to here. 0.4. That's too far. 0.3. That's not far enough. It looks too even. 0.35. That'll do. That's good enough. All right. I have put that exactly where I want it to be. I'm going to go ahead, uncheck that. There's my patterns tool. It's got, if I haven't used it yet in this document, it should be a linear pattern. It should look like 4 boxes. If you click on the little arrow, I can choose circular pattern. That's what I want to use. Circular pattern. Click on that circle. The automatic default is, I believe, 3. Let's, and look, it's put it right there. Let's make it, double click on the 3 and click 5 instead. There, it's got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's, everything else is set the way I want it to be. Uncheck that. Oh, no, I should have hit enter probably. All right, let's do this again. Where's that 3? 5. If I hit the left click, that'll check. Yep. Okay. Check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check that. All right, now I'm going to want to extrude, and this is one of those things I have to keep telling people. Like, I zoom in because, like, if I'm out here, it's hard for me to, like, if I move my mouse to the outside edge of the circle, that's just going to pick the outside edge. When I go to extrude it, it's just going to give me that shell of it. It's not going to actually get the cylinder. It's going to get the outer edge of the cylinder down. You know, it's not going to be. It'll be like a fence instead of a chunk taken out. But if I move over, I get the middle point, and that's just going to be like a line, and it's going to be hard. You know, it's not going to be what I want. If I zoom in, then I can put my mouse in between that edge. Notice how thick the outline is there, and the point. And if it's in between them, I got a skinnier outline around that circle. See, it changes a bit thickness. If I click right there, like if I click on the edge, it just highlights the edge, the circumference of it. If I click inside, while it's got a skinnier outline, it'll actually highlight the whole thing. And that's what you want to do. You want to get all 5 of these guys in between the center and the circumference so that you can select those 5 circular surfaces, extrude them, do a remove. You don't need a full inch, maybe 0.75. I don't know. Let's see what that looks like. We're going to draft it 3 degrees, and we're going to change the direction so that it gets skinnier as it goes down. Let's see how low those go. That's still a little bit low. Let's do 0.5. Yeah, good, cool. There you go. You can see down there, they all are going the right way. All right, now what? Got the 5 holes. Does it tell me to shell again? Yep, shell again. That should include walls around the holes. All right, so to shell, The shell feature basically, if I look at this, it's got a lot of material down here, right? It's full of material. It's very dense. If I were to 3D print it, it would have to print material all up inside there. It would be a lot of material. If I had to injection mold it, it'd be a lot of material. And this thickness in the base, it wouldn't cool off at the same rate as like up here between these walls up here. It would not cool off the same rate. So by shelling it, you're getting something that's going to cool off at a more uniform rate, and you're going to have less warping or bubbling or problems in general. The shell feature, it says I can either make something hollow or I can like click a surface to take off that surface. So I don't want it to be hollow, I want to click a surface. I'm going to click the bottom and it'll take the bottom off, and everything else, it'll just make it a little wall around it. And there it is, and it's too much, do 0.05. There we go, and you can see how all these holes, they like taper together as it goes down. That's good, that's fine. That's kind of what we want. We want as much tapering as possible. If it tapered out as it came down, that would be a problem because then it'd be stuck on the mold, and we wouldn't want that. All right, the next step, it says something about embossing it, like you can put your name on the top of it. And I really don't want to do that, but if you want to do that, that is your touch. You can add to it. All right. Actually, you know, I will do that because I had a reason for doing that before. Let's do a sketch. Let's take the text box. Let's make a text box right over here. Haynes. Green check. All right. Can I drag this over and... Hold on. Can I drag this over and center it? Yep. And then make it slightly tinier. There we go. Cool. If I were to, let's see, what's it say about embossing versus not embossing? There was something right here about embossed rather than engraved. So engraved means like it would cut into it. And that's more difficult than having it pop up out of it. That's why if you look at the picture, when they didn't extrude, they pulled the words up out of it. Let me grab sketch 5. Let me do an extrude with a draft angle of 3 degrees. Inwards, and definitely not a full inch, like 0.1 at most. Oh, that's still way too high compared to 0.05. That's still really... See, that's the kind of thing where I would worry about it breaking or snapping off in the machine. It's still too high. Like if I were doing this 0.01 or 0.02. Yeah, that's probably better. All right. That's this guy. That is your tapering. That is a 22-minute video. My goodness. I'm hoping y'all are able to watch this on YouTube and don't have to get a jump drive with these on them. Alrighty. Y'all have a great rest of your day. I will talk to y'all soon. Y'all take care now.